Hi and welcome to Gardening with DC. In today's seed series video, we're going to have a quick look at help, my plant is turning yellow. Now more specifically, less about your plant turning yellow, but more the fact that you have a green leafed plant and the leaves are turning yellow. So that's what we're going to have a look at, and specifically we're going to look at nutrient deficiencies. Okay, so we're not going to look at some of the other factors that might be in play, overwatering, underwatering. I'm going to assume that you're okay on that. If you're underwatering, obviously the leaf is going to curl, it's going to dry, it's going to go yellow, it's going to go brown, and then quite literally fall off. We're not going to worry about other environmental factors, sort of pests and diseases, those sorts of things. We're just going to concentrate on nutrient deficiencies and some common plants here in Sydney that we can encounter some nutrient deficiencies that we have in back gardens, etc., etc. Would be citrus, Gardenias, Camellias. These are sort of some of the typical ones where we can encounter this issue. So that's what we're going to have a look at. Help! The leaves are turning yellow. What can I do? Okay, now leaves are incredibly important. They're not just a sort of the plant's fashion accessories or a bit of an accoutrement. We could contrast that with this sort of Garmin swim watch here, which it doesn't help me swim better at all. Leaves are absolutely fundamental to the health of the plant, and fundamentally what they do is they do this very, very clever trick of capturing light from the sun, the red and the blue light, and they turn it into energy. It's called photosynthesis. You may remember that from science lessons back at school or something like that. And it really is a terribly clever trick, because if you think about what we get when we expose ourselves and we capture light from the sun up there, we just cook and go brown. So it's all terribly clever science. Okay, so let's have a quick look at a few of the sort of the common issues that you might have with your leaf turning yellow. And as I say, where on the plant it's turning yellow, and also how, and this is really important, how it's turning yellow is really, really crucial. So let's jump in straight away with that, how it's turning yellow. So if you imagine your leaf, I'm going to put a couple of graphics up, and when you see my graphics, which I've done by pencil myself, you are going to think, how am I not earning a very, very good living as an illustrator or some sort of a commercial designer, because they are very good, these graphics. Okay, so our leaves, obviously we've got our leaf, sort of our leaf blade, and then we've got veins going up through it, and really this is what we're going to be looking at here with the veins. So it's really important that we've got our blade of our leaf and what's going on. Now, a common issue that we can have with our citrus and our gardenias, for example, is iron deficiency. And I'm just going to put up now a quick picture of iron deficiency. Okay, so it's really important to note here that our veins, okay, so the veins of the leaf stay very, very green, but there's a gradual dilution, I'm going to say, of the green around the rest of the blade leaf that goes yellow. So it's sort of dark green, and then lighter green, and then lighter green, and then it becomes a yellow. But those veins, the veins of the leaf, okay, they stay pretty green. So if you're observing that in terms of how your leaf is turning yellow, that's what you're dealing with, iron deficiency, and you can just go and get some powdered iron and spread it on, obviously as per the instructions and depending on the size of the plant, etc., etc. Okay, so that's iron. Okay, let's have a quick look at another one that's common and sort of goes hand in glove quite often with iron, and that is magnesium, because that's another very, very common one with our sort of gardenias and camellias and other sort of acid loving plants. Now again, here comes a quick graphic. Okay, so you can see it's a little bit different there. So we've still got quite a bit of greenery in the veins, but again, we have this sort of this gradual reduction, but from the top, okay? So instead of the veins with our iron, they maintain their greenness. We sort of have this depletion or dilution from sort of the top of the leaf going down. And it can almost sort of look to be that symmetrical. Now again, you can go and sort of get a horticultural product, or you can, can't see that, hopefully you can see that very well, I use it all the time, Epsom salts. So just scoop 10 litre bucket, give it a real good wash around, take the head off it so it pours nicely, and get that in. So magnesium, Epsom salts. You may have heard about that and you thought, oh, is that a bit of an old wives' tale? It's not at all. Okay, so iron and magnesium, they sort of quite often go together, as I say, particularly for the acid-loving plants, but also for citrus. We can quite often have a bit of deficiency with those. Now let's have a look at one of the macro nutrients. Nitrogen, that's really what we all sort of associate with what makes our leaves green. So generally, if you've got a nitrogen deficiency, what happens is that so sort of further up the plant, the newer shoots will be green. Sort of initially, they'll come through quite green, but certainly lower down on the plant, those green leaves will again, it's a sort of and it's a much more sort of, again, there'll be a graphic coming up right now, in fact. There'll be a sort of a gradual dilution, but it's a consistent dilution throughout the whole of the blade of the plant. So that's a bit of an indicator there that you've got a nitrogen problem. And as I say, in terms of where it's happening, your newer leaves at the top, they'll come through and they'll look green and be, oh, it's all good. But lower down, they'll be drifting away, as I say, so diluting, and then those newer leaves will also sort of in that sort of consistent blade way, they'll just dilute the colour throughout. And then lastly, another sort of common one, and it's one of the ones where we so again we're looking at one of our macronutrients, so it can get easily confused with iron and magnesium, but potassium, and potassium is a sort of it's sort of a nutrient. It's a bit like oil in a car. It just helps everything work, so it is pretty important. And again, I'm going to show a graphic now of a leaf there. You can see there. So again, we've got sort of this gradual dilution, but in contrast to magnesium, where we have the yellow, we have this browning on the edge. And again, it's a bit tidal. It sort of comes in. Like that. Now to sort of anyway, so look, so just starting back. So here, look, there's some nitrogen. You can just buy it in pelletized form. That's potash. So potassium. So again, you can just buy that in granular form. So all this stuff is readily available. So look, I hope that's been of help. I'm going to throw up another few graphics here to finish off, just so they're sort of line of sight. But don't panic if the leaves are turning yellow. Just have a think, have an observe. How are they turning yellow? Where are they turning yellow? And that's going to be instructive in terms of understanding any nutrient deficiencies, and that's something that can be easily fixed. That's all for me. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and see you next time on Gardening with DC.